Hey, everybody, welcome back to Heart Breathings. We're going to do something that I almost never do on this channel. Usually it's all encouragement, but today we're going to talk about the things you shouldn't do if you want to find success self publishing. So I'm going to be bringing the harsh advice today. Let's get started. If you've ever wondered if there are things that you can do wrong in self publishing, there are. There are some big things that you can do right from the start to set yourself up for success, and some things that you can do which will just hold you back for years and years and potentially for your entire career as an indie published author. Self publishing is not easy, but it is possible. And the opportunities that you have as a self published author are limitless, but there is strategy involved. And it's not as simple as just writing a book that you never edit, making a cover in Canva and throwing it up on Amazon. Though I wish it was, it's not that easy. So, what are those big mistakes that I see people making all the time that hold them back? We're going to bring the truth today. Tip number one kind of goes without saying. However, unfortunately, I have to say this, which is don't skip editing and getting feedback on your book. This goes for nonfiction, children's books, fiction, whatever you're writing. If you plan to publish it, don't let the first person who actually reads and gives you feedback be the person who just purchased your book. You need to get lots of feedback, especially if this is your first novel. Most first books suck. Mine did. No one will ever see that book. Even though I have a first book that I published, I wrote multiple books before that one came out. And we are all kind of learning as we go. Now, some people just naturally are going to write great books their first time around, but very few people write great books and get them polished without an editor. So I know that editors are expensive and it can be scary and it can be difficult and you have to work with someone else's timeline, but that's the job, right? We're trying to create quality books for our readers, and you want to put your best foot forward, your best book, your best story forward right from the start. So if you can't afford an editor, get critique partners. In my Heart Breathings writing community, in my Discord server, we have a whole connections area where you can find critique partners and other people in your genre who understand that genre to swap chapters with. That's the way I started before I could afford a professional editor. If you can afford it, you might want to work with a developmental editor who helps you work through plot holes and characterization and all kinds of things like that. And then proofreader. Before you send your book to formatting, before you format it yourself and publish it to these retailers, proofreading is essential because you don't want someone to take a chance on your book. Like, it's hard enough to get readers to take chances on our books as new authors anyway. There are millions of books for them to choose from. So why are they going to choose yours? Well, if you finally get them to choose your book, the last thing you want is for them to give up by chapter 2 because it's riddled with errors, the characters aren't likable, there's no cohesive plot. You don't want those kind of problems because you'll not only lose that reader, but you're going to lose every reader who pays for your books, and they're never going to pick up another one. Good editing is essential, so don't skip that feedback one way or another before you publish. Number two is really going to be the hardest one, probably from this whole list, and that is don't write in multiple genres. I know. We all want to write in multiple genres. You might say, oh, but I love contemporary romance, but I really want to write historical too. And I have this psychological thriller I've been thinking about. Almost every writer enjoys writing and reading multiple genres. And I'm not saying that you can't write multiple genres. What I'm really saying is don't publish multiple genres under the same pen name right from the start. It is so much more important. I cannot even express to you how important it is to really pick a lane. Pick a genre, and if you can, pick a subgenre or a niche where you can really dig in and say, this is my thing for the foreseeable future. And then once you've established yourself as a brand and you've established a set of core readers, then you can decide if it's a good idea to branch out with your same pen name or to try a separate pen name and see what really makes sense. And there's a lot of strategy involved in that in terms of trying to make sales and make your readers happy. But if you want to find success and actually sell books, one of the biggest things that you can do for your career is to pick one clear subgenre with a clear and established set of readers in the world and start there. You can absolutely find that Venn diagram place where it's like writing what you most want to write and writing what readers want to read, and find that place where those two things converge. My friend Deanna Chase once said, find the most marketable thing that you would love to write. And to me, that really spoke to my heart, because you will hear people out there who say, don't worry about writing what you love. This is a business. You have to write to market. You have to write to trends. And that's not really bad advice, because writing to market is important. But I don't see writing to market meaning you can't write what you love. You can find that place where you're writing something you really enjoy, something you're really passionate about, but you learn how to package it and present it and write it in such a way that you're meeting reader expectations. But if you've got a paranormal romance, a contemporary romance, a fantasy, and a thriller all under your same name, and you just have one book in each series or one book in each genre, you're really setting yourself up for failure. And this is harsh, but true advice. And I hope you'll take it to heart. I'm not trying to kill anybody's dreams or say that you can't write in multiple genres, but unless you can write lots of books in a single year, it's best to just find that one lane that you're going to stick to and establish yourself there first before you start branching out into lots of different genres. Trust me on this one. Number 3, another piece of harsh advice: don't make your own book cover. I know there are exceptions to this. I have some friends that are really great at art and they understand Photoshop and photo manipulation, and they're great at it. But for the majority of people watching this video, it is a very bad idea to make your own cover art. Readers can tell, they're very savvy when they go and they look at the covers on Amazon. That is their first point of contact. They might see your title first, but most readers are going to see your book cover first. This is not the place where you're going to say, oh, but there's a butterfly in chapter 8 that really means a lot, so I'm going to put a butterfly on the cover of my psychological thriller. Like, if a reader hasn't read your book yet and they're trying to decide what to buy next, they don't care about the butterfly because they don't have any kind of connection with that symbol or with that scene. This is not a place where we need to recreate an exact scene from our books. Your cover is your biggest marketing tool. It is the first thing that a reader sees, and you need to make sure that you're able to sort of step away from your story, and instead of getting sentimental about it, realize that this is a marketing tool. Write what you love in the book itself, but make sure that your cover matches genre expectations. A reader should be able to look at your cover and instantly say, I know what kind of book this is. And if they can't, you're going to struggle to sell. And that's the truth. Do your genre research and figure out what type of cover you should have for your book. And while we're speaking about genre research, number 4, don't sleep on genre and market research. Readers don't choose books based on, well, that seemed like a nice author somewhere. They don't know you. The majority of readers that come in contact with your book are going to be interested in what's in that book. What's the hook? What's the trope? What kind of adventure am I about to go on? What type of information is this person going to share with me? What type of experience will this be for my child picking this up? Readers are looking for specific genres based on their mood, their preferences, and their expectations. And if you are standing here saying, well, my book doesn't really meet any expectations, it's unlike anything anyone's ever done before, let me stop you right here, because readers don't want something they've never seen before. Readers are always looking for something similar to the last book that made them feel the way they want to feel. If a reader wants to cry, they're looking for that next book that's going to hit them in the feels. If a reader loves coming of age stories, they're looking for that sense of adventure. If a reader loved The Hunger Games and it was their favorite series of all time, chances are they have bought many other dystopian series that are similar to The Hunger Games, because we're always looking for that high. We're looking to recreate those feelings that we so desperately loved about the books that we couldn't put down. And so the more that you can make sure you understand what type of genre you're writing, and in fact, what niche you're writing, what tropes you're writing, exactly what market you're serving, the more successful you will be. And if you can really narrow it down and say, my book is like all these other books or books in this genre, or the reader who will love my book is a reader who also has loved these other things, you're going to be able to position yourself, both your cover, your blurb, all of your metadata, all of your marketing towards that exact reader. Visibility is hard. in 2024, y'all. You can't just put your book up on a retailer and expect people to find you. You have to do the work. And that starts even before you've started writing your book, or definitely before you've finished editing it. It's essential that you understand exactly what it is you're writing and what your ideal reader likes about that type of book, and then make sure that you deliver on it. I do actually have a video about genre research here on my YouTube channel that I'll link down below. It is a sneak peek of one of my videos from my course on self-publishing, Publish and Thrive, which is actually open right now for enrollment. And that will give you a pretty good idea of why it is so essential that you understand your genre and expectations. It is one of the biggest things that you can do. So one of the biggest mistakes you can make is to ignore that entirely. Number 5 is don't publish without a marketing strategy. I've been telling you this whole video, self-publishing is not easy. It's more accessible than traditional publishing because you don't have to wait for someone to pick you. And that is such a huge opportunity. So don't waste it by thinking that you can just write a book in a couple of days or whatever and throw it up on a retailer and you're just naturally going to start finding sales. It takes strategy. And it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean you can't make any mistakes. So don't let this like make your chest start to feel tight and make you feel like you can't do this. This video is really meant to empower you and hopefully educate you on the things that are most important. But I'm just going to tell you right now that having a marketing strategy is incredibly helpful. And when I say marketing strategy, I don't just mean ads, like what ads are you going to take out? Although that can be important. Your marketing strategy begins with all these things I was talking about before: reader expectations and how well you meet them, knowing your genre and getting really clear on that, and then everything about your book's package and the data that goes along with that. So we call this metadata. So your book's title and whether it's well branded and consistent with the rest of your series or the rest of your books, your cover art, your series title, the keywords that you use, the blurb, your pricing strategy, how fast or slow you're going to publish your novels, how and where you're going to release them. Are you going to be in Kindle Unlimited, or are you going to go wide? Are you going to have paperbacks and hardcovers? Are you going to start with Kickstarter? There's a lot of decisions that go into your marketing strategy, but the more you can get that eagle eye view and say, okay, I'm going to look at all these pieces of the puzzle and I'm going to put them together in a way that is not only ideal, because there is no like formula to the best chance of self-publishing, but you're going to put them together in a way that is ideal for you. Some people will tell you, oh, you have to have a large social media following to find success. That's not actually true. I have a friend who makes 7 figures who has absolutely no social media presence at all. Other people talk about her books, but she's not on social media because it's not her thing. Instead, she has focused on writing a really long series. I'm talking 20 plus books in a popular genre that she loves, and she focuses on the quality of the books. And she focuses really heavily on bonus scenes to get her readers into her newsletter and her ecosystem in terms of her bonuses, her website, and all of that kind of thing. And she doesn't worry about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's not even a thought for her. And that is accessible to you. Other people's strategy is going to very heavily lean on TikTok. So you'll see all kinds of marketing strategies out there. And as kind of a bonus, don't do this. Don't try to do it all at once. In Publish and Thrive, I start out the course with a kickoff call, which I know some of you will be attending. So welcome to the class, talking about how marketing and all the choices you make, think of it more like a buffet, not like a requirement. So when you find a buffet, there's all these tasty options, but you might be like, well, I'm gluten-free, so I'm going to ignore the bread. And I don't really want to eat sugar, so I'm going to ignore the dessert table. But wow, this meat section looks really good. Or I'm vegetarian, so I'm only going to eat the salad and vegetables. You get to choose. And there's nobody that can tell you that you have to follow this. And in fact, if you encounter anybody online who tells you this is the only way, and if you don't do this, you won't be successful, just know that person is speaking from their own personal experience and most likely from their fear. That person does not have your best interests at heart, because that's a lie, honestly, that you can only find success one way. People will say, you can't write YA and be successful. Well, I've sold 1 million books writing YA. Other people will say you have to take out advertising. You have to be in Kindle Unlimited. I've done neither of those things. I don't run Facebook ads. I'm not on TikTok, and I don't run Amazon ads. I've never been exclusive to Amazon and I have still been able to find success. But there are other people who are exclusive to Amazon and run ads, and they're also successful. Some of them more so than me, some of them less. But there is no one size fits all to self publishing. It's just important that you weigh all the options and you come up with a strategy that matches up with your values and aligns with your skills. I know it's easier said than done, but it is an essential part of finding success. Number six, don't neglect your email list, your newsletter, and your website. So, a lot of people, for some reason, really just don't want to do a newsletter. It feels personal and vulnerable. Like, I don't know what to say. And to be honest, I am really good with my Heart Breathings newsletter. And since I haven't published a book in a while because I've been focused so much on courses and teaching, I've been neglecting my own newsletter for Sarra Cannon for my author career. And so I'm taking this advice to heart. You know, it's true when your harsh advice is even speaking to yourself. So don't neglect a newsletter. When you build your entire career on Amazon or some retailer and you build your entire interaction with your audience someplace like a Facebook group or TikTok, you're making yourself super vulnerable. My friend Shell calls this building on rented land because you are saying if somehow your TikTok account gets banned, you have literally zero way of reaching your fans. If Amazon bans your account because they say you're against terms of service, which happens on the daily, you have no way of publishing your books or reaching your readers to try to pivot for a little while until you can try to get your account back. You are putting so much power in the hands of other people, but a newsletter is something that you own. Now, if you're building it on MailerLite or MailChimp or ConvertKit, that's still sort of rented land, right? Because they're the ones who you're sending your email through. But as long as you back up your list, you own the rights and access to the emails of people that have opted in to hear from you. And so you can take that list to a different place and you'll always have options of how to reach your readers directly. It's also a more intimate way to talk to your readers, to get to know them and to nurture them, give them lots of gifts, give them surprises, let them see a little bit into your process or who you are. And of course, you get to set and choose your boundaries with that. I share photos of my family. You certainly don't even have to ever let them see your face. It literally runs the gamut in terms of how much you want. You could adopt an entire false persona and send emails out as that person, and it will still work. So it doesn't matter how you choose to do it in terms of success. It just matters that you do it. So right from the start, I highly recommend, even before you publish, having at least a basic website set up where people can sign up for your newsletter and find links to your books, find out when your next book is coming out. That is kind of the basics of your website. And then having a newsletter where you offer something for free to get people in, and then you continue to nurture those relationships. If you want an amazing gold star resource for your newsletter list, the absolute number one book you should go out and get is Tammy Labrecque's book called Newsletter Ninja. There are actually two of them. The first one is absolutely essential, but they're both amazing. Tammy also has Facebook groups and other places where you can follow her. So I'll link that book and her website down below. But she's kind of the guru of newsletters for authors, and I highly recommend following her advice, and you'll get lots of good info on welcome sequences and tags and how to, like, what in the world you're going to put in that newsletter. Because I know you're scared of it, but don't sleep on it. This is another one where it's like, I am a cautionary tale. I resisted it all the way through the first 6 books in my series. And now I have no way to go back and ever contact those readers. Amazon, Google Play, Apple, they're not giving me anybody's contact information, right? They hold that information close to their chest. So you could sell 1,000,000 books on Amazon and never again be able to reach your readers. Don't neglect creating a website and an email list. You will regret it if you don't. Get it done. Number 7, don't give up. I know I said this was going to be harsh writing advice, but I got to throw some typical Sarra Cannon love and light your way. This is not an easy path. This is not the kind of path where you can just phone it in if you really want to find success. This sometimes the hardest part of this path is the feelings of doubt, the feelings of fear, and wanting so badly to find success and looking around and feeling like everybody else has it and why isn't it my turn yet? That to me, that emotional side of it can be more devastating sometimes than the actual process of learning how to publish and format your books and everything else. But one thing you will find really fast is that most people, it takes us 3, 5, 6 books, sometimes 20 books before we find our people and before we learn how to really get our voice out there in a way that resonates with people. It takes time, it takes work. There are always anomalies of people who just like took off right from the start with their first book, but most of us, it takes time and it takes patience and it takes money. Don't give up. If this is your dream, I firmly believe that we only dream of the things that are truly possible for us. And maybe that's a little like, manifesty and, Pollyanna. I don't know. I'm a positive person. And I truly believe that if this is a dream that was laid on your heart, that you picked up a book and you thought, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to make readers feel. Or if you write nonfiction and you're like, this is what I have to share. I have to share my story, or I have to share my knowledge in some way to help people, that your success is out there waiting for you. It's just a matter of clearing out all this noise and finding your right strategy and your right place so that you can speak to and find and connect with the readers that you're going to be their favorite author. So don't give up too soon. If you're sitting here and you've listened to all this and you've realized, man, I've made a lot of these mistakes, or even if you're sitting here and you're like, I feel like I've been doing everything right and I'm still not finding the sales that I want, don't give up too soon. Your success, like your enormous, life-changing favorite author of 1,000 people success, could literally be right around the corner. It could be waiting for you in the next book. So don't give up too fast. Give yourself a real fighting chance and continue to learn, continue to iterate, continue to open up your heart against that need to like close up and stop being vulnerable, that need to defend yourself or feel like you're right or to be scared. What if people don't like me? Try to open your heart. Being an indie author, being an author at all, being creative at all is vulnerable. It's hard. But if you can open your heart to the possibilities and continue to learn, then your success is right around the corner. And if you don't like this advice, then don't listen to me. One of the greatest things about indie publishing, about self-publishing, is that you can do what you want and you will find your own path and you will figure out in hindsight what was mistakes and what was right for you. One of the biggest things that we can do for ourselves to find success is to listen to our heart and listen to our own intuition. And that can be hard when there's so many voices out there telling us what to do. So if something I just said doesn't resonate with you, don't listen to me. You should always be listening to yourself. Just make sure you have that open heart and willingness to learn. If you are thinking, gosh, Sarah, I just want to know, how do I do it? How do I get the right book cover? How do I figure out my strategy? What do I write in a blurb? How do I start my business? Where do I publish? How do I handle taxes? If you've got all these questions building up in your mind, well, I have something for you, a gift. I have a Q&A coming up next Saturday. So if you are watching this in July of 2024, our Q&A will happen next Saturday, July 27th from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you want to come join us, my self-publishing class, which is super comprehensive, walks you through every teeny detail from every box to fill out in every form as you publish to how to format your books, how to choose a cover art, how to write your blurb, and all those other things I mentioned, your metadata, your newsletters, your taxes, your business structure, and of course, 2 full weeks on how to market your books. And one of the things that makes this course particularly unique is that, remember I said it's that emotional side that can be some of the hardest pieces of self-publishing. We have an entire module at the end of the course that is dedicated to that. And you will walk away at the end of this class with a clear strategic roadmap. Literally, you will have a list of, I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And it's going to be different for every student because your path is unique to you. Then you'll also get an index at the end of the course, which is like a quick reference wiki of all the things that we went over in the class. So you're trying to figure out what's the best trim size for your paperback. You go to the index, you can find the answer really fast. And I have lovingly and painstakingly created this resource to help you find your greatest success. So if you have any other questions, I will leave the Q&A form for next week's Q&A in the description, but I will also be checking in on the comments. If you have any other big, like, don't make this mistake like I made, or don't make this mistake because it's really going to hold you back, add those down in the comments below because I would love to read yours and see what I missed. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to have you as part of our Heart Breathings community. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I hope to see you in my Publish and Thrive class. But if not, I hope to see you here again at Heart Breathings. All right. All my love to you. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.